Welcome to the Simple Minds podcast, where we look to empower and encourage real conversation amongst men everywhere by unpacking topics on self-help, philosophy, and business.
Welcome to Simple Minds podcast. Thank you for tuning in for another week. My name's Travis Hayto and I am your host for this glorious day. Today we have a full house and we are joined to the left of myself by Justin Bourne.
What's up?
Magic Matt Hannum.
Hello, Haydo.
Well, good to have you in the house, Matt.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be here.
What mood are you in today?
I'm in an off-season but exceptional mood.
I feel like you're in the shit-staring mood today.
I may be.
That's most days.
Yeah.
He's going to operate from somewhere that's not on your sheet.
That's good. I like it. The table will raise. And we're also joined by the almighty Kanye Francis.
G'day.
All right, well, thank you for tuning in again. We have...
Grape salad.
They don't have to tune in, mate. Those days are dead.
Yeah.
we're live on the wire, aren't you? 92.8 FM.
Would be AM, mate.
Digital.
This is, yeah, digital. We wouldn't even get on AM.
That's why we're not.
It would be local radio.
Okay, back to our drink. We haven't had white wine for a little while, so I thought I'd bring in only the best quality for you gents. It's a fantastic drop from the 70s, bottled in 2018, Sauvignon Blanc, Oyster Bay, New Zealand.
I think I rate it just a one run above Fruit Alexia.
That's not bad. It's not bad. But what I would like to know really, Haydo, is what was your thought process before bringing this bottle of wine in?
It's the only thing he had in his house.
I want to hear it from him.
Genuinely, I had a really nice bottle of red there and then this in the fridge. And I was like, wow, we haven't drunk white for ages. I was like, I might get rid of that because I didn't really want to drink it myself. So
that was what you told yourself. But the other decision was you don't want to drink the good bottle of red.
absolutely. No, also, it is quite warm today and I couldn't be bothered with a red. I was like, I think I felt like we needed a white. So I used my gut and went with the white because I felt like we needed it. Anyway, cheers.
Good segue.
Cheers.
Did you like that one?
Yeah.
What are we talking about today, Conrad?
Guts.
Whose phone's ringing? It's annoying me, by the way.
That's Conrad's.
We're talking about heads, hearts,
It's that
or
phone
guts.
from the 1950s over there, mate.
Yeah, head, heart or gut. How do you make choices or decisions?
I flip a coin.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's pretty easy then, isn't it? Well, that's not on my sheet. Can you...
I'm out.
Do you use your head, heart, or gut? Is there certain things you use for one, or do you mainly operate from one space? Which should we operate from? So, did you know that the human body actually has 3 brains?
I thought I had 2.
Well, brain and... No, we're not even going to go there. You filth bag. Neuroscience over the last...
There's a lot of good books about that. Relax.
Yeah, love languages. Love nudge.
Love nudge.
Neuroscience over the last few years has shown that aside from your head brain, the one we're all familiar with, Matthew, we also have a certain brain, the cardiac brain, and the gut brain, the enteric. Enteric? I always never know how to pronounce that.
Enteric.
Enteric brain.
Enteric.
Each of these brains is a sophisticated system of sensory neurons, motor neurons, and neurotransmitters, and ganglia. They are able to receive and process information, store it, and access it again when needed. They can sense, learn, remember, communicate, and change. So the cephalic brain, your head, has 86 billion neurons, which is
Just a couple.
yeah, not too many. The seat, your head brain is the seat of language, cognition, consciousness, and creativity. It recognises, gives meaning, creates narratives. So when you speak, it's generally from I think, I reckon, I understand. Your cardiac brain, your heart, has 40,000 neurons, so considerably less than your head. that can operate independently from your head brain. So, which is really interesting for me. I never realized that the two could operate independently. I always thought that the head was...
Starts that way as a baby though, right?
Yeah. So I always thought the two of them, really worked in tandem, but on my research, it handles emotional processing, expressions of values and interpersonal connections. I feel, my heart says, heavy, light heart, so that sort of stuff. The enteric brain, so your gut or your intuition, I like to call it, has 100 million neurons, so even more than your brain, which is quite incredible.
No. 100 more? No.
100 million versus 86 billion.
Oh, sorry.
Clearly he's not in maths.
Fuck. The Oyster Bay's gone to my head. Thank you.
You have to repaginate your whole freaking thought process.
Fuck.
Start again. Start this podcast again.
100 million neurons.
Which is less than 86 billion.
This is
But
true.
more than 40,000.
Fuck, I take photos for a living. I don't do numbers. Controls self-preservation and mobilization, responds to challenges, opposition and danger, determines core sense of self. It takes guts. My gut tells me, my intuition tells me. Funnily enough, though, your gut actually has more matter in it than your brain, which is quite a interesting fact. So not neurons, but
like a beer gut.
well, imagine if you got way more than a. So anyway, to my topic, because I know you're all very interested in.
I really like this topic, Adam.
So I think it's quite an interesting one because Adam's taking the piss, but it's okay.
He's got the guts
No, I
here.
do.
He's taking the gut angle of the conversation.
There's an angle.
Furthest away from the brain.
Anyway, I think it's a really interesting topic because, which one you use in different situations is going to give you a different result. Because I know in love, a lot of people use heart and then they probably go to the head and then some to the gut, and everyone's different. In business, do you use intuition or do you use your head? Do you run it by the numbers and go, well, this is analytically the correct thing to do? Am I going to make that decision, or is it do you operate always from your intuition, from your gut? So I don't know. I don't know where you guys stand. So I will start with a little story about myself. So in the last sort of 3 months, I've had to make a really big decision. So as you know, I play quite high level basketball, and I am 29 now. So I'm not out of my prime, but I'm not also well, actually, some would say that I'm right in my prime. Some people say between 28 and 32 is your sporting prime in basketball. But running a couple of businesses, having a small family now, I really had to kind of have make a decision, make the choice of whether if I want to continue playing basketball. And I actually went through sort of all three of these, and I was like, if I went with my heart, I love basketball. I love playing. I love being in a team environment. I would play till I couldn't walk, right? So that would be my heart's decision. If I went with my head, there is very many determining factors, whether if I like the coach, whether if I want to be in the program, if I can, justify spending that much time away from my family, my business, very analytically looking at the pros and cons of what I wanted to do. And then there's the gut. And what's your intuition telling you, but without trying to connect your heart and your head to it. And I've actually chosen not to play anymore, which is quite a big deal in my life because it's something that I've known forever, and being in elite sport since I was 12 years old, actually. So it would be the first year that I actually haven't been in an elite sport program. And the way I came to that decision was by head and gut. I use actually both of them. my gut was, I listened to my gut first, and it was you shouldn't play. And I didn't actually completely listen to that because my heart was trying to overrule that and tell me, no, you love this sport. You really should continue playing. You can only play for so long. You love basketball. And then I actually brought my head into the equation, and I was like, well, I got a little bit more analytical about it, and I was like, what am I trying to achieve from playing? Am I, what do I need to get out of it? So I kind of looked at it and I was like, the program that I'm going to be in, is it going to make me a better person? Am I going to become a better basketballer? Can I justify the 15 to 20 hours a week away from my family business to go chase that? Can I do that? And then I really stripped it back and I was like, well, no, I can't. So that justified my decision from my gut. And that was the kicker. So, if I had just listened to my heart, I would have been all in, straight back into it. But however, I used the 3 on this occasion, which is for me quite rare because I'm instinctively a gut person. That's generally...
There's a lot of neurons you use to make a decision.
Yeah. Well, can I have one more question for you? Do you have a USB port? And if so, what did Ashby's plug-in of head, heart, and brain and gut actually say and influence the equation?
She supported me 100%.
Yeah. To do what?
To do what I thought was best. Yeah.
They're crazy, these women.
Yeah, so she supported me.
She trusted
100%.
the fact you know what's best.
She trusted the fact that she would make the right decision.
Yeah, which is... anyway, so no, I don't have USB.
I'm just teasing.
That's all right. I know you are. I'm going to smack it.
He's got a port, but it's not a USB port.
Yeah, I'd say, what is it? It's a Cat 5.
So, anyway, in this situation, I used all 3. In business, it depends. Like who uses their gut the most here, or who uses their heart. I feel like you're a bit of a heart person, to be honest. Would that be true to say?
Yeah, look, I would probably agree.
He's an accountant, mate. He has
But
to use his
being
head.
massively analytical, then I bring through that.
I think, that's probably where
as
the
and when
conflict
I
is
need.
with you.
Well,
That's probably where the conflict is with you, though.
We have
is.
massive conversations of you helping people and then going, fuck, I shouldn't be doing this or doing that. And, why have you helped them in the first place? Is that because you've made that decision with your heart?
Yes.
Exactly.
Not your gut.
No. No, exactly. It is hard, 100%. And
Want
then,
some help with your social media and digital marketing? Come and see Visible.
Yeah, we promised to undercharge.
Under-deliver too.
No, we promised to over-deliver, undercharge, and that's
Creates attention that way.
that's good now because I'll triple my pricing, and when they come in, they'll go, "Oh wow, he's undercharging."
Now you just told what you're going to do, you idiot.
Wait, do you know me? Do you think I want to do that? No. So, no, I do. I agreed. And then one of the challenges I have, and where I actually get into
Strife.
quote unquote analysis paralysis, is when I bring the head back in and go and analyze. And if it doesn't line up statistically, because being an accountant, having done that depth of analytical work, it's hard to fight that when you're looking at it from a numerical perspective, whereas the heart generally has a different opinion. And that's often where I will lead from and where I probably should lead from, but that's where some of the conflict comes from.
So do you have any mechanisms to get out of your heart, like to initially start with your heart? Because if that's going to get you into into conflict with yourself at all times, do you try to use one of the other two first? Or do you generally go with your heart first?
I don't think I have a problem with the fact that I go with the heart first. I think that's if that's what I use as my first signal, that's okay.
Yeah.
It then usually comes down to other justifications, and if I need to stop and pause and either look at the gut feeling on it or go to the brain and do that analysis. Often you've got a pretty good picture of that anyway. Or I do, because a few numbers sort of thrown out there pretty quickly creates a picture for me. I don't have that skill set, but that usually would help me take or stop me from taking the action potentially that I was going to take. And or hopefully I'm looking for it to validate. But I use that as a secondary. I don't really have a problem with. I don't think I have a problem with leading from the heart. I don't think that's what causes the conflict. I think it's the ability to come from both of those directions fairly strongly that I think provides a challenge from time to time.
Why is that? Just
why? Because when you've been trained in such a deep analytical structure, numbers don't usually tell you to take risks, and sometimes you need to take risks, and that's probably why there's the core conflict in it. Because numbers will tend to, in my view, reduce. Depends what you're looking at, but like numbers will tend to reduce.
But you can structure numbers in any way to impact.
Fucking line's awful, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's disgusting.
It's really not
shit.
No, there's nothing wrong with oyster bay. I think this one's been in Trav's car for 3 months.
No, it just went straight to the I don't even know how it
just
ended up in
tastes
the
the
fridge.
fucking sour grape, man.
Yeah, well, it is wine. No. So it all contextually, this is not necessarily coming out right because obviously you can look at accumulation of money, other things, but like if you're looking for a reason to go and do something or to spend money on something, often you can quickly craft a reason to not do it. So then if you're,
but we're all using these things, right?
Yeah, we are.
Logic's your head. Your love or your emotions coming out of your heart, and then your courage and bravery is coming out of your gut. Generally, that's how I saw it when you posed the scenario. So we're all using it at different stages. So if you need to make a gutsy decision in the office, then it's a gut decision. If you need to make a logical decision, then it's a brain decision. If you're having to make a people aligned decision, then it's generally coming from a heart space, and you've got to align the 2 or 3 of them depending upon what you're talking to.
See, that's interesting because, like, let's say people as an example, I'll usually have a gut feeling. I'll use some of the heart in it, but then and the heart part of me, like if I've got a challenge and I say no, I need to let someone go or do something, I'll always then pull back to the head and use logic to go, look, no, there is sound reasons for me doing that.
Yeah, but other than the fact that you've also got to mitigate friggin' law. When you're doing stuff like that, so you do have to apply some level of head. But
do you think our heart masks a lot of the tough decisions you need to make?
I don't think well, some people tell me that I don't have a fucking heart, mate. So I'd say no.
Well, for someone with a heart,
I wouldn't know.
Tin Man.
Not Tin Man.
Wouldn't fucking know. I think
because like I find
people do rest on that shit pretty a lot though. I mean, whenever you get people procrastinating, you're going to get people that say, they're stuck in their head hard or, it doesn't feel right here, there or fucking everywhere. I mean, that's just the excuse from a procrastination perspective. Is it real? No, they're just not fucking wanting to move.
Yeah. What were you going to say, JB, about heart?
Oh, I mean, it's interesting you brought this up. I've been suggested to kind of go lean into heart and gut and other things around some big decisions over the last couple of years. And through my exposure to meditation over the last couple of years, have experienced connecting more with the heart and feeling the heart a lot more. I'm very much a heady person, logic and all of that. But
creative, right? I mean, that's where that comes from too.
And so, I think sometimes, it's a balance. It's probably a skill of learning to listen to all 3, but not getting caught up too much into it because the heart might be saying one thing, but that's not the right decision. Or you're looking at it from the wrong way or whatever. I think particularly around people, I think when you're running a business, and I had an experience recently where, I guess
it's hard making hard decisions when the matter's that close to you too, right?
Correct. When
why it phase it like love is you operate out of your heart so much, and so many people make hard, bad decisions from your heart at that point.
And it was not until, say, numbers were brought into it where it kind of smacked me in the face where I was like, okay, yep, you've got to make the calls now much easier.
Well, that happened again today, didn't it?
This is the experience I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I don't want to go into detail, but it's
Didn't
kind
happen
of
today.
it's trying to find the balance. But there's definitely been instances where the heart has played a big factor. And coming back to how the heart and the brain can operate in different waves. I think it was Tony Robbins. He's got the meditation, the gratitude meditation. I think in one of his lectures or talks, he actually shows the graph that you can align the waves between your head and your heart by going through doing a gratitude meditation with your hand on your heart. And you actually sync up the brain waves between your head and your heart. And it's quite a surreal feeling to do that. And I think it was a similar experience when we did a live meditation actually with the Deepak with hand on heart. And that's really powerful too. But and it's really funny, my wife, she's really connected with her gut. So she will pick up like stress, feelings of things that aren't going with her gut. She'll get massive tummy aches and pains and stuff like that. Like her gut is she's so connected to it and so sensitive to how things are going. And when we were practicing intuition readings recently, she received a lot of it all through her gut. And that's like really fascinating to me. And I have heard, and could be wrong, and this is something I heard, is that women generally are a lot more connected through the gut typically. So yeah, it's really interesting how you've laid it out here.
Or some people call me very feminine. I'm a very I'm a very gut
Some
person.
people.
Oh, shut up, mate. No, I'm a very gut heavy decision maker for sure. That's where I'll go first, and generally 80 or 90% of the time, I'll go to my gut, I'll know the answer, then you'll sit on it for 2 or 3 days, and then you'll speak to your heart and then speak to your brain, but still your initial gut instinct was the one that kind of played out to be the decisional choice that you made.
From my experience, it does seem to be more typical that it knows, and it's just generally you're ignoring it and trying to rationalize it through logic, or you don't want to take the tough action associated with the decision.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's procrastination, isn't it? And not actioning, anything. You're trying to rationalize it through the other two, but really you know the answer. What about you, Conrad? I know you.
He's a heartless dude.
Well,
Got
yeah.
no heart.
You can only use two of
He's
them.
got no heart. Has he got a gut? Have you got a head?
I've got a heart, you clowns. I just don't expose it as vulnerably
just
as what
black.
you fuckers do. I use it where it needs to be used.
Use it all the time, mate. You are lying to yourself if you don't think you show that. You're serious too, aren't you?
Yeah. He's so full of shit.
No, but I think I touched on it earlier.
No, but you don't listen to anything after the but. Yes, Conrad?
Just relaxing right now, gentlemen. Relaxing
Oyster
to this
Bay wine.
topic.
Do you want a top up?
No, it's fucking. I feel like I've just eaten a bunch of fucking table grapes. That's what I feel like. No,
So I guess we won't be getting
a
sponsored
sour
by
loaf.
Oyster.
I fucking hope not. Like I said to you, I think it is just a case of, and I can put it down to, we have a lot of meetings. I sit on a lot of meetings and with various different businesses and various different people, and you can see at any given time that they might be leaning one way or the other. So you need to lead them into probably 2 or 3 of those phases. And I don't think you need to, it's interesting when you look at yourself. I mean, people talk about how you make decisions so quickly. Well, people say to me, I'll make decisions real quickly. I think you just become in tune as to what your initial response or leniency is. Now, I'm generally a head person is where I go straight away. I'm a deep thinker. So I know that's my default, and I know that's also going to be my biggest challenge is to get out of my head. And so I just look to where I need to go to. Either do I need to spend some time on my heart or go for a gut conversation. So yeah, it is an interesting one. But yeah, knowing yourself and where you default to, will give you some level of understanding of what you may need to include to get yourself to a better decision.
Well, yeah, you say you can be generally a quick decision maker. How have you become that? Like, what's the process?
Oh, it's self-awareness. I mean, that's the anything to expedite anything you do for yourself. You have to become aware of who you are and how you operate. So becoming aware, like I said, knowing that. We talked about, I think it was the last episode, we talked about depression. I did say I went to a psychologist, or I think he's a psychologist, might have been a psychiatrist, who knows. But anyway, the reason why I didn't go back was because he presented me with a couple of interesting books that we had in this session, and they piqued my interest. And I went back to the office and I said, "Oh, Doc, can I please get a copy of those books, or let me know those titles? I'll go buy a copy." And he didn't want to give me the names again because he said it would feed my dependency on being a thinker and a rationalizer in their head, and he saw that as one of my biggest issues. So I said, "Thank you very much. I won't be coming back." But that's the truth. So I became very aware as to where I spent a lot of my time. And at that stage, when I wasn't happy with my life, I realised, okay, well, fine. If that's not serving me, then other parts have to.
So what process do you go through? Because I know with big decisions, you say to me, "Oh, I'm going to sit on that for a couple of days," and you go away, and obviously you're in your head. So how do you access your heart and gut in that situation? If your head's so logical, if your head's being so logical and a lot of your values and stuff instill into it, how do you get out of that and go into the other two?
Journaling, meditation, those two things tend to give me some structural fill in the areas that I don't spend a lot of time. Mate, it's actually using some of these words that you're talking about, how I feel about a situation or how it makes my heart feel. Or what's the gutsiest thing I can do in this situation.
So that's the language you speak to yourself?
Well, languaging triggers the connection with me. So even when I'm coaching people through certain things at the moment, I want them to get to feeling spaces. I have to lead them into that space. I think or I feel, and bring them back to that. And it's funny how people actually get very confused when you ask them to talk about their thoughts. They go straight with, "Oh, that makes me feel," or "I feel." I'm thinking, hang on a sec, that's not your thought, that's your emotional state, that's your feeling state. I said, and we'll come to that. So I think we've got to be very, I feel we have to be very mindful of the language we use to access the brain we're trying to access. Fuck, that's good. Make sure that gets dragged out. Fucking hell.
Is that a clarism?
Fuck, it could be.
That's a Kanye Francisism.
That's fucking gold.
Mate, you just chop that up and put that in as a little meme on your
quote.
Instagram. Yeah.
Possibly we'll play it back and it won't sound so good.
What about you, mate? How do you get out of your heart?
He's a charge more.
I open a fucking spreadsheet up.
So that's what you're doing?
No.
Because that's what I do. I go into a pros and cons.
I do that. So spreadsheet is one, and I'll often model things out, throw some scenarios down, do some of that, and or I'll journal on it if it's a bigger, if it requires a different level of thought. But if it's really just
float tank that bitch, mate. Seriously, go on a float tank, they'll shut the shit down.
I got a couple of credits backed up at the moment. So after a bit of travel,
That reminds me.
Yeah, I almost booked one yesterday, but I didn't quite get there. But I'll do that. I'll definitely hit a spreadsheet up and go, all right, I'm feeling this way. What does this reality or that reality actually look like? And pull a logical frame onto it. And once I've let that go, I probably more likely will then just ponder gut and go, all right, so there's nothing hidden for me. I've opened a spreadsheet and uncovered that, or I've written it down. I often will do a plus minus thing, pros and cons, same thing. Just funny how when you write it down on a page, one side has like 17 things, the other one's got 2, and you're like, what the fuck was I debating?
Wait, have you ever
I
done
don't
that?
need to go to 17, mate. I'd get to 1 or 2 and thinking, oh, fuck, this is boring.
Have you ever
I'll make a courageous decision.
Have you ever done that with love?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Spreadsheeted love.
Yeah, like a relationship.
Oh, spreadsheeted.
Yeah. Oh, no, not spreadsheet, but like pros and cons or...
Oh, plenty of times.
Yeah. Plenty of times. Jesus, how many times?
Yeah, I've definitely done it on like relationships or I mean I've certainly done it on business partnerships, which is there's obviously financial, but there's obviously interpersonal relationships in that as well, and sometimes there's a lot to try and consider and figure out, especially when you're also dealing with if in small business, you're dealing with that person, you're dealing with their family, you're dealing with a lot of different factors and staff and that as well. There's a lot to it, but it's not always spreadsheetable. Obviously, it depends what it is.
Yeah. What about
It's more gut and heart if it's not spreadsheetable.
Well, you can spreadsheet love. I know of people that have made decisions around their finances on love, but
I guess that's not
quote unquote love.
the love part of it. Yeah. What about you, JP? JP?
JP. Jordan Peterson in the house.
I like that. JP.
JP.
Did you get married recently?
I did.
Justin Peterson.
Yeah, Patman.
Is your middle name? Is your middle name Patrick?
Justin Palm.
No, it's not. I'm probably similar to Matt in that I'm pretty heady, so I rationalize. I'll play out the scenarios, a bit of journaling here and there, but I'll play out scenarios. So what would this look like? That would happen. Yeah. If it's a financial thing, run out some financial models around to try to justify.
One or two.
And
what about before recently?
Sorry?
Yeah, what about before
the financial models you have in place now?
No.
Well, hang on a second. But even with the financial models he's got in place, it hasn't necessarily given him the speed and execution.
It has. It's increased.
Better.
No, but as you say, whatever you, and this is one of the challenges with things like, say, financial modeling. I'm quite well experienced in it, but we will play out whatever model based on the information that we have and our skill set at the time, right?
Yeah.
So and that's hence why we all make different decisions, even if we're using, heart or gut, because we've all got different levels of skill in using it.
But coming back to what you're saying, Conrad, about, I guess, self-awareness, come back, whether it's linking it back to the modeling, the execution piece, the speed is increasing more and more so because of the experience and the practice around trying to, I guess, first listen to the heart. It's almost like you listen to the heart, rationalize it with the head, and then take action on the gut.
Yeah.
And that seems to be common practice.
For me? Listen to
the heart. Listen to the heart. The heart knows straight up. First off, you try to rationalize it with the head through your numbers or whatever,
Logic,
and then take action with the gut.
Yeah,
because it takes guts to then.
Mate, Holy Trinity.
There you go. There's two good ones. Eh?
Trim that up.
Trim that up, mate. There we go. An episode of gold.
We can shut this down right now. Can't be anything better coming out of that guy's mouth.
65 episodes and you got something.
I had a situation
He's
yesterday.
got the name of his book going on now.
Is that?
The Trinity.
Yeah. I had a
It looks like a Trinity.
By JP.
JP Sears.
No, I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly what should be going on in healthy human beings.
Yep.
Because we talk about it, right? We talk about the hormones trigger the thought triggers the action triggers the outcome, right? I think there's a few other things in there that other people throw. But if you look at this stuff, I think, you pretty much succinctly put it. That's how it should be functioning.
Well,
because you got to feel stuff, right? I mean, you don't take any action without feeling it.
Well, it comes back to sales as well, where, a lot of salespeople say that you buy with your emotion and rationalize with logic. And we make
buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
You're bought on a happy feeling and then you think, oh, shit, that's no fucking cost me a lot of money.
And then you try to rationalize it through logic. And there's a lot of
to satisfy your heart, your gut, you're going to eat a tub of ice cream.
A lot of people do that.
There you go. There's the action piece, right?
A lot of people do that with wives.
Do they?
Oh, gee.
They might do. I've never been married. I can't comment.
I had a situation yesterday, actually, with Omen. I love
Omen.
I love Omen.
Who's Omen?
Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Who's Omen?
Omen, that's like that fucking movie, mate.
I was watching you two clowns be dicks. Anyway, I love noticing omens that come into your life. And about 2.5 years ago, you guys all know, I had the young fella Riley work for me, and I let him go. And for the last 2 years, I'd revisit every time. I sort of like, what did I learn from that? How can I use that situation to improve how I deal with staff and people and stuff, moving forward. Anyway, we stay in touch. I catch up with him regularly every now and then. And I had been thinking, I was like, I'd been training up a young photographer. She's good, but probably not for the avenue of photography that I mainly do. And I was like, I need someone else just in that position. Anyway, I just caught up with Riley just as a normal situation, and he just dropped it on me. He's like, I just want another opportunity. Just give me another opportunity to work under you. Like, I loved working for you. Like, I still want to learn. Like, I learned more in the year that I worked for you. And I went straight to my gut, I feel like, but obviously I probably went the same rationalization, went to my heart, felt like it was a good thing to do, went to my head and then finished in my gut. But I felt like I went straight to my gut and I was like, well, this is the decision that needs to be made. Yes, no worries. Because it was actually like a good omen in my life, because I'd been thinking about this is what I needed to do. Focus creates reality, because it's funny how it pops up. The solution popped up.
You think it's fucking funny, man. You idiot.
The solution popped up.
How naive are you?
It's not,
How much more work do you need to do on yourself now that you created the opportunity?
Well,
you fucking clown.
I wasn't saying anyway.
Let's just scrap that topic, because, I mean, he just created that anyway.
Well, I know that I created it.
Heart bullshit. You fucking became a magician, mate. You made it work.
Exactly. However, but I didn't need to dwell on the decision.
Well, no, you fucking didn't, because you knew you needed him back.
Exactly. So
but you had to cut him in the first place because he was grading against you and you were grading against him.
Absolutely.
So now it's great that you both understand, yep, we're both in a different space. We can benefit each other. And he was man enough, because you weren't, to reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good.
You were brave enough to put it out there in the universe.
I held the tension.
Fair play.
No, very good. So yeah, anyway, that was a situation.
Fair play, jolly sir. That's off.
All right, I think we should wrap it up there.
That's a good story, but I don't actually think that talks to your topic, though.
Not so much.
I think that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, true. I was more angling it towards the decision that I didn't need to dwell on it or anything go away. I just used my gut and I was like, yeah, this is what needs to be done at the point. When we're sitting there, yeah, no worries. Come back in,
did you start?
Come do the thing. Oh, actually, sending him to Port Hedland in a week. So,
so that's a brain decision.
on Monday, so he's already up there. He's going up there.
See, that's a better part. Brain said, I didn't want to go there. I felt like I didn't want to go. I thought about it. No, I didn't want to go. My gut said, send the fucker.
So it was pretty, yes. Anyway. Thank you, fucking hell. Thank you for listening. Matt, settle down, all right. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you got something out of today. We'll see you next episode.
Ciao.
Ciao.
That's it.
Thanks for listening to the Simple Minds podcast. If you like our show and want to know more, then check out our website at simplemindspodcast.com. If you like, you can even leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or share this episode with a friend. The Simple Minds podcast is also on Facebook, Insta, and for those that like to keep things formal, LinkedIn. So follow us there if you want to keep up with the latest updates from the show. See you next week.